I'm here to talk about something that's a pretty hot topic out on the internet right now, and that would be DMOZ.org. They were founded in 1998 and by a couple of Sun engineers, and the name originally was called Muhu. Slashdot wrote an article that made it well known that Muhu had nothing in common with the spirit of free software for which the new project was known. It was then acquired by Netscape in October 1998, and its new name became the Open Directory Project, or ODP. The number of listings and categories you see on the front page include the test and bookmarks. So that would be these numbers down here. Um, Now, ODP began as a free-for-all. However, original volunteers have left since they felt deceived into joining a commercial enterprise. Editors have also been removed for criticizing policies, and in that case, staff would just use the excuse that their behavior was uncivil to justify it. The search function for ODP search is based mostly on minor modifications to an open source project, LSearch. DMOZ is now currently owned by AOL. That being said, I'd like to talk a little bit about their policies. DMOZ allows for the public, okay, that would be you or me, to suggest a URL, okay, by using this link here, in which case we would fill in, sorry, that link is, for the information about it, but basically the way it works is you would go to the category that you feel that your site or the site that you're trying to suggest would most likely match. So let's say computers and computer science. Then if there's a link at the bottom, okay, you can suggest to that directory. As you can see, you can't suggest to just the computer science directory. You have to be more and more specific. So let's say a directory, okay, and as you can see here, we've got, the huge amount of links that are listed under computer science as computer directories. We've got a grand total of 8 listings, okay. Now, this is important because when you submit or suggest a URL, as the ODP editors prefer to call it, you are only allowed, okay, to submit one directory, okay. In other words, you would submit, like for example here, big yellow text here, a site on breast cancer should be submitted to, the conditions and diseases, cancer and breast cancer, and not the parent category, okay. You're also only allowed one suggestion per URL. Now, once that's done, as you can see, there's quite a few fields here. The title of the site, a decent description of the site. They limit you to 25 to 30 words. The email address, and then there's a verification code that you have to enter in. Once you've suggested the site, this is where the fun part begins. You can be waiting anywhere from allegedly 2 weeks all the way to infinity. Okay, I mean you could actually suggest your site and never hear back from it. Okay, and in that case, what a lot of people tend to do is they will wait a year and then they will resuggest their URL. However, the editors at DMOZ, which you can talk to them on their forums at resource-zone.com, they've made it very clear that if you suggest a URL more than once, it is spam. Okay, even if there's a 10-year gap between the suggestions. Okay. Now, that being said, there's absolutely no status indicator on whether or not the site was suggested. They say that if the site wasn't suggested, like if it was suggested and hasn't been approved, then to resuggest it, but you have no idea on whether or not that status was approved. Then there's the abuse side of things. What some editors do is they will use certain categories to promote their product or promote websites that they've done, and a lot of times these sites are really, really badly done, um, which end up, spamming our search results on major search engines such as Google and Bing and Yahoo, with all these cruddy little sites that nobody wants to see. Okay, if you've ever typed something in Google, a keyword, and it came up with a site that claimed to have that relevance to it, and you went into that site and you couldn't find that word anywhere, well, this is why. Um, Under each category, the editor can put keywords, okay, linked with that particular URL that have absolutely nothing to do with it. That's one part of the corruption. The other part is, in addition to that, they will submit a URL. They'll put a URL in there in 6 or 7 different categories, and according to their site submission standards, this is not acceptable behavior. But nothing is done about it. I'm not even going to begin talking about the allegations of bribery and embezzlement, sorry, not embezzlement, extortion from web developers and SEOs who are requesting a link to be submitted and like to be added to the directory that don't get added unless they pay those fees or whatever. What I am here to talk about is something a lot more visible. One of the sites, if you find a site, let's say this one here, stylusinc.com, and you search on the DMOZ record, and there is 6 listings, okay, in 6 different categories, okay, for this site. Now this one down here, this one is acceptable because you are allowed to list in multiple regions, okay. However, as you can see, this is only listed in one region. So according to their standards, this site should only have one link in this region here and one link somewhere else on their site specific to the category of what that is. Now, as you can see, these are definitely URLs that were added by an editor, okay? Because when you submit your site to ODP, to DMOZ, you have to submit it in the format of your base URL. You're not allowed to put full path names to a specific file on your site because you're linking to your site. So in addition to that, you can see this particular page. This is just one page here that has 2 links in 2 different categories. So what I'd like to do is I will go to their reporting forum, okay, to report that this was abuse. Okay, now since I can't, it's really difficult to find this on their site. I have the URL already here, up here. If you're looking to report abuse, you can go to dmoz.org/public/abuse. So it's a nice little form where you can enter in the editor and the URL of the category if applicable. Okay, so what I'll do is I won't put the URL of the category, okay, because there's multiple categories here. But what I am going to do is I'm going to copy all of these links, okay, which tells I can put in my report. This will show them all the categories and how many links are in each of those categories. And I'm going to paste that here. Okay, now I'm also going to put in an email address. I'm going to use dmozjunk@mailmetrash.com. And now I'm going to enter in the CAPTCHA. Now this form is also used for reporting editors that you have a problem with, or corruption. Let's say an editor is making claims to extort you. You would come to this form here and you would report that editor. Now, this is what happens when you try to submit an abuse report. You get an error. Whoops, an error has occurred. And that's it. So their abuse system is really, it's really not up to par. So anyway, long story short, this directory is something that was by the people, okay, for the people, and you know, Google and Yahoo and Bing and AOL and pretty much every single major search engine out there uses these links as base URLs and gives them really high priority in the search engines. And they're also gifted where they can match up keywords that have nothing to do with that particular site that's being listed. So if you have any complaints about DMOZ, I would suggest that you would go to this site here, which is Resource Zone, so resource-zone.com, and create an account, okay, by clicking on register. Filling out the form, you'll get an email confirmation. However, you know, the editors have changed things just recently that the administrators must approve all new applications because I had a nice little long-winded dispute on there with them about some of their policies and how they manage things, and you know that basically they should really, you know, shape up their act. But once you've registered, you can come in here, and I would say, you know, there's suggested under general ODP issues. Also, you're encouraged to set up a blog, make discussions. If somebody could redo this video, maybe I'm not the greatest at doing videos, so and just spread the word, and hopefully, you know, the major search engines will actually listen to us and we'll stop seeing all those spammy sites. Thank you for watching my video, and have a good day.